Good evening, everyone. Yes. When Sally asked me to be the keynote speaker for the OACC Gala, my heart was flooded with so many vivid memories of my time at the Oakland Asian Culture Center. 2 weeks ago, I was at the Japanese American Cultural Center in Los Angeles as part of the strategy meeting for an $18 million BIPOC regranting cohort. I reflected on the first time I was at a Japanese American Cultural Center 20 years ago, when I started working at OACC at the most critical juncture of my life. Today, we're here to celebrate our stories. Allow me to humbly share my story with you. And let's go back to the very beginning. I was born in Taiwan in 1964, in the middle of a tumultuous period of Taiwan's political history. The years of martial law between 1949 and 1987. This period, of course, was during my lifetime, my parents' lifetime, my grandparents' lifetime. During this long period of dictatorship, countless Taiwanese people were executed, imprisoned, disappeared, and silenced. My own grandfather was on the government's execution list. Almost everyone knew someone who was killed and imprisoned by the government. I grew up near our town's train station, where regular public executions occurred. As a child, I did not have a full understanding of what was going on around me. What I do know now is that growing up in a tumultuous environment of social injustice meant that fighting for justice was embedded and sealed inside me, infused into my blood, and became part of my DNA. In 1977, my family immigrated to the United States because my father was not legally allowed to leave Taiwan due to his profession as a physician. We left our homeland silently, illegally, and disappeared without a trace. I went to 4 different junior high schools between ages 8, 12, and 14, 3 in this country. For the first time, I experienced supermarkets, public libraries, and school busing. And most impressionably and painfully, I experienced racism for the first time in my life. During these teenage years full of angst, I discovered my love for music, for the piano. The piano was my best friend, my confidant, my safety blanket, and outlet for my creative expressions. I poured my heart and soul into music and would practice piano 4 hours a day, 7 days a week for many years. I wanted to attend a music conservatory after high school and pursue a life as a professional musician. After many contentious disagreements with my own family about my career direction, I chose a common pathway for many immigrant Asian kids. I double majored in biology and chemistry and became a dentist. While pursuing a life in the medical field, my love for the arts never left me. Attending UCSF Dental School brought me to the wonderful San Francisco Bay Area. I discovered a wonderful landscape of arts and culture. I took dance classes at Third Wave, now Dance Mission. I took dance classes at City Center, now the Malanga Center. I joined the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. Yes, you may clap if you want. And also became a founding member of a Cuban dance company based in Oakland. I volunteered at countless community events, including for Asian Health Services. You may clap if you want. Yes, there are folks here from AHS, Oakland Asian Cultural Center, and performances produced by World Arts West, the organization I now lead. In 1995, while building my dental practice, I saw a flyer from Caribbean Music and Dance for a 2-week trip to study music and dance in Cuba. Unbeknownst to me, this trip would change my life forever. For the first time in my life in Cuba, I was immersed in music, dance, arts, culture, 24/7. I found my natural habitat. It was an earth-shattering discovery. I reopened my dormant teenage dream. This time, not to be a professional pianist, but living a life immersed in arts and culture. After coming back from Cuba, I started to study Cuban dance seriously, primarily in Oakland. I became a founding member of a local dance company, OACC, and performed extensively, including the San Francisco Dance Festival, opening day of the Yerba Buena Gardens Festival, and many school assemblies for young audiences. While continuing to build my dental practice in San Francisco, my life as a dancer enabled me to move closer and closer to my dream of living a life in the arts, and eventually gave me the confidence to leave dentistry. In the year 2000, 23 years ago, after almost 2 decades of devoting my life to the sciences, I walked away from my dental practice with a singular dream to live a life in the arts. Yet I left dentistry without a safety net, without any job prospects. My own family disowned me for that choice. It was at this moment the Oakland Asian Cultural Center came into my life. I started working at OACC in the early 2000s as City of Oakland's Administrative Assistant Class 1. Take note, Roberto. OACC at this time was under City of Oakland's management. Yes, starting at the bottom and doing rental reservations for OACC, this space, while OACC was in an uncertain transition period. 3 years later, 2023, I was offered the executive director position. This was a time of deep challenges for OACC. At that time, OACC had no grants funding, minimal rental revenue, barely any cultural programs. The facility was in disarray. There were many media stories about the chaos and potential demise of this organization. Yet my heart told me to stay, and that working at OACC was an essential part of my personal healing journey. Steadily, I hired a small team and rebuilt the center. We leveraged the number one asset of this organization, our wonderful space. Yes. Partnered with countless organizations to launch and expand cultural programs, such as the Lunar New Year Festival, the API Heritage Festival, our school tour program, artist residency programs, year-round performances, and educational programs. Steadily, one grant at a time, starting with the City of Oakland. Thank you very much. We eventually secured grants from California Arts Council, Alliance for California Traditional Arts, the National Endowment for the Arts, and many foundations. We engaged in partnerships to launch large-scale initiatives such as 100 Families, a citywide multi-generational arts project that engaged 100 families in 4 Oakland neighborhoods. In partnership with KALW StoryCorps to record stories of Oakland Chinatown. And produce clap if you want. Pursue the first ever audio documentary of Oakland Chinatown, partly narrated by the legendary Bill Wong, who's in the audience tonight. Yes, and launched the groundbreaking Oakland Chinatown History Project. Yes, a wonderful project by Roy Chan today, who's a legend in the making.
Thank you, Greg.
Along the way, I finally learned the full history and contributions of Asian Americans. Information I did not have access to during my younger years. The Chinese Exclusion Act, Paper Sun, Angel Island, internment of the Japanese Americans, Khmer Rouge genocide and the effect on the Cambodian community, the immigration history of different API communities, I-Hotel, the pioneering API artists such as Anthony Brown, John Jang, Francis Wong, Mark Izu, Jenny Lin, Brenda Wong Aoki, and many others. Yes, clap if you want. I know you saw many of them here. Right around me, right here in Chinatown, the history and the immense impact of the local API nonprofit organizations, Asian Health Services, Filipino Advocates for Justice, Family Bridges, Ibalsi, APEN, so many others. Yes, they're here tonight. For the first time, I saw Asian American women who looked like me, who were frankly Super badass. Uplifting local community and changing the world. Sherry Hirota, Lillian Galetto, Corinne Jan, Lynette Lee, Jenny On, and countless others. I realized that while growing up in the suburbs, I consistently learned that people who look like me did not have history nor contribution to the makeup and development of our nation. At OACC, I finally learned the rich history of the API community, our contributions, our challenges and triumphs, our stories from our own voices. At OACC, I learned about the wonderful and diverse API arts and cultural landscape in the Bay Area and beyond. OACC provided a home for Anthony Brown's Asian American Orchestra to create, work, and perform. Chitra's Chandam Dance Company had their first performance produced by company members at OACC. I remember when Winnie Wong started with one Guzheng student at OACC, went on to create China Spirit Ensemble with her students at OACC. This November, China Spirit Ensemble will have their 20th anniversary performance. Erna Cruz Louie and others started the American Center of Philippine Arts at OACC. ACPA, yes! ACPA, now called AGOS, has steadily grown over the years and is now a program of cool arts. The GEAR Mongolian Youth Program started with a small community of Mongolian parents who wanted the children to learn Mongolian culture. The GEAR program, which grew to include Mongolian language, music, and dance, is still at OACC 2 decades later. Yes. This wonderful space, as a community space, OACC was the place to be, where Destiny Arts Center, La Peña, and countless nonprofits held their fundraisers. The Asian Health Services annual membership meeting was at OACC. With their mind-blowing United Nations live simultaneous interpretation equipment, OACC became the place for mayoral and city council debates, polling place, and countless community organizing meetings. As our home away from home, OACC was a place where many in the API community chose to have our weddings. I know, because I booked many of those weddings myself. And had many intense conversations with Restaurant Peony about what is the actual capacity of our auditorium when they kept squeezing more tables in. This was a space where our community chose to have our birthday celebrations, retirement parties, and the highly coveted New Year's Eve rental booking. At OACC, my own cultural identity was affirmed over and over again. Each year, as I learned about the ever-expansiveness of my community's history, stories, arts and culture contributions, my own self-confidence as an Asian American steadily increased. I realized this is one of the most important roles for the Oakland Asian Cultural Center. As a community cultural center, OACC is the place where API community comes to feel a sense of home, learn about ourselves, and learn about others. Participate in arts and cultural activities that we may not find elsewhere, and to be in solidarity with other communities in fighting social justice and having our agency in determining our own future. At OACC, I was honored to hire and work with a wonderful team of young professionals who had gone on to amazing careers after OACC. Jennifer Chu, who I hired as a development intern, yeah, some of you know her, is now a program officer at the San Francisco Arts Commission. Let's give a shout out to Denise Pei, who's her boss. Former funder of OACC to Oakland. Isa Chu, who I hired as a marketing intern, is now thriving as a marketing program manager at the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. Isa, give her a shout out since she's here tonight. She's amazing. While working at OACC, I told you it was going to be a personal transformation story. I also met the love of my life, Mr. Ali Usilas, right there, who's sitting in the audience. We got married when I was at OACC. We've been together for 20 years. And just sent our daughter to college 2 months ago. She was born when I was an ED of OACC, yes. Lastly, the family who disowned me, I'm happy to report, I also reconciled with my family who are immensely proud of my work in the arts today. At OACC, I saw firsthand the immense challenges of cultural artists, especially immigrant cultural artists, in securing funding, in creating infrastructure, and navigating bureaucracy to sustain their artistic and cultural practices. While at OACC, I vowed to myself that I would devote the rest of my life to help and support these beloved cultural artists, which I'm doing now at War Arts West. After leaving my position, my ED position at OACC in 2007, I stayed involved with OACC to launch the Oakland Chinatown Oral History Project until I finally handed it to Roy Chan, who leads the project today. Over the years, working at OACC has equipped so many of us towards greater professional successes and deeper impact for the community. With the professional arts administration, leadership skills, and expansive cultural knowledge that I gained at OACC, I was eventually able to land a job as a development director and eventually executive director at World Arts West. A little bit about World Arts West. World Arts West was created in 1978 as a direct response to the 1965 Immigration Act, one of the most important federal legislations to diversify the makeup of this country. World Arts West, we present a large-scale annual multicultural dance festival and provide financial and capacity-building services to cultural artists, many of whom are immigrants and children of immigrants. Our annual festival is the longest-running multicultural dance festival in the United States. Over the last 45 years, the World Arts West community has grown from a small grassroots community of cultural artists to the largest world dance network in the country. Let's give a shout out to Indra Mungo, who now works at OACC. She's the former associate director of World Arts West. In addition to World Arts West, I'm also the board chair for Dance USA, the national service organization for dance. This enables me to be part of a national cohort of dance leaders that meet with our federal legislators each year on Capitol Hill to advocate for the dance sector. I'm very excited about dedicating my life to support and uplift cultural artists, a dream that was formed in my heart while I was at OACC. At World Arts West, we are continuing to present our beloved large-scale festival. We've also been building a robust artist service program, and we're now going to be part of a brand new Wallace Foundation $18 million BIPOC granting initiative. Thank you. Since leaving OACC about 15 years ago, I've continued to visit Oakland, Chinatown, and OACC regularly. In fact, I bought this downstairs at Sasha House. This time as a community stakeholder, I am so pleased to see OACC expand its programs on cultural identity and ever-increasing focus on building solidarity with other BIPOC communities on social justice work, expanding the Oakland Chinatown Oral History Project, and continuing to be a welcome home for so many of us. This is home we revisit regularly, a home we left long ago, but is always open to us. A home that helps us rediscover who we are as people, a new home for our children and grandchildren, to affirm their cultural identity and to connect with others. A place of refuge for us as we navigate continuing episodes of anti-Asian hate. A place for us to gather, to organize, to celebrate, and build our collective futures together. Please join me tonight celebrating our beloved Oakland Asian Cultural Center. OACC is only possible today because of you, because of all of us. So many of you have been part of the creation and the history and the continuing evolution and expansion of the Oakland Asian Cultural Center. As we wrap up the evening, let's continue to work together towards a future of unlimited possibilities for the Oakland Asian Cultural Center. Together. Thank you, everybody.
Anne has been